Have you reconsidered at all scrapping the pensioners' winter fuel payment, given that it's made them cold, it's made you lose votes?
We had to make a number of difficult decisions when we came into office last year to stabilise the public finances after the mess that the Conservatives left them in. But I do understand people's concerns, their ongoing concerns about the cost of living, whether that is families or indeed pensioners.
Putting them off voting for your party, it did last week. There's a big election in Scotland next year that could put them off voting for you at that.
The policies that we've brought in, whether it is increasing the national living wage, which has seen 200,000 people here in Scotland get a pay rise of 6.7%, putting more money in working people's pockets, the increase with the triple lock, which saw pensions increase by £470 just last month, and then the 3 cuts in interest rates that we've already seen, which has reduced the cost of people's mortgages. I'm not complacent, there's more to do.
Because you scrapped the winter fuel payment for pensioners. Are you reconsidering that at all?
That policy stands. It was necessary to put the public finances on a firm footing, but I do get people's concerns about the cost of living, and that's why, whether it's the triple lock, the national living wage, the cuts in interest rates, that we're determined to put more money in people's pockets.
Rachel Reeves has done it again, stood before the public and defended a policy that could only be described as political cruelty dressed in bureaucratic language. In what world does a senior Labour figure, supposedly the shadow chancellor of compassion and economic justice, look into the eyes of struggling pensioners and say, in essence, "We're cutting your winter fuel allowance, and we stand by it"? There's tone deaf. And then there's Rachel Reeves. Her insistence that that policy stand wasn't just a dismissal of the poor. It was a cold, calculated slap in the face to those who depend on heating assistance to survive the brutal British winters. It's hard to imagine a more shameful hill to die on. What exactly is Labour conserving here? Certainly not dignity, decency, or even common sense. Reeves, in her typical robotic fashion, couldn't even offer a shred of empathy. No understanding, no nuance. Just rigid defense of a policy that reeks of elitist attachment. Labour under Keir Starmer has already been teetering on the edge of political identity crisis. But Reeves has managed to tip the party into full-blown hypocrisy. This is the same Labour Party that used to roar about protecting the vulnerable, now turning its back on the very people who believed in it. And Rachel Reeves, with her trademark arrogance cloaked as professionalism, is leading the charge. Let's not pretend this is some necessary economic evil. It's not. It's a moral failure, a betrayal of working-class people who can no longer tell the difference between Labour's cold pragmatism and the Tories' cold heart. And perhaps the most insulting part, she seems proud of it, there was no hesitation, no reconsideration, just a smug doubling down. That policy stands. It's the kind of phrase that will haunt Labour when the winter deaths start being tallied, and families light candles not for Christmas, but for warmth. For a party that claims to represent the people, Reeves has made it clear, only some people count, and if you're old, cold, and broke, you're not one of them.
Labour MP no longer in the Commons. He wrote a powerful piece in the Daily Mail yesterday saying that if Labour is in any way to remain a sort of legitimate government, legitimate political force, it needs to get rid of Starmer, and it needs to get rid of him now. And he harked back. He said, "I remember Gordon Brown, exactly the same situation. Both men not cut out to be leaders, ideologues, no real humanity about them, no understanding of normal people." Tom Harris said, if they don't get rid of Starmer very soon, they're finished.
I actually think Brown was way better than Starmer. I mean, Brown wasn't an immediate disaster. He wasn't a disaster within the first couple of weeks of his government. I mean, he did have a nightmare with an election.
He left it a month, didn't he?
Yeah, he was
No.
going to have an election, and then he bottled it, and it
Yeah.
did all start going a bit wrong from there. But Brown, remember, didn't lead his party to catastrophic defeat in
No.
the sense that then the opposition, the Tories, were only ever able to be part of a coalition. Whereas I think Starmer is leading his party to electoral Armageddon. And for that reason, I'd be very happy if he stays exactly where he is. Unfortunately, however, that would take a tremendously bad toll on the country. So I have to put country first. It would be better if he were ousted, and I think he will be. I think it won't be, though, for at least another year, possibly a year and a half, and then we'll see a Wes Streeting. Or, it occurred to me yesterday that actually Dan Jarvis, someone, there may be someone else that comes out of the woodwork, but it's Starmer cannot win the next election, in my view.
And I can't see anyone in the cabinet to worth replacing him, because I just don't see anyone who would lead forward. So if they do go for someone else, maybe they need to look outside the cabinet, because I can't see anyone in that shower fit to be the Prime Minister, just like Keir Starmer isn't fit to be the Prime Minister. But he is the cross that we have to bear, as they say in Rome. Let's go to break. When we come back, we're going to have to talk about a little bit of, and we're going to have to grudgingly admit that there's been some good news for the government today. There has been a trade deal with America, but there are caveats. So we'll discuss Trump's.
The writing is already on the wall, and the cracks are growing wider by the day. Labour will lose the next election. That's not just speculation anymore. That's the sentiment echoing across working class communities, once the party's stronghold. As the Reform Party surges in the polls, the panic within Labour's ranks is palpable. Their old message no longer resonates, their new message doesn't exist, and their leader, Keir Starmer, is being exposed for what many long suspected, a man not cut out to lead. The migration crisis has become the spark that ignites the wider collapse of Labour's credibility. As communities feel overwhelmed, unheard, and pushed aside, Labour continues to dodge the issue, or worse, talk down to voters with a tone, deaf sense of moral superiority. Reform, by contrast, is filling that void, not because of polished speeches or ideological purity, but because they're speaking plainly to real fears and frustrations that Labour has treated like inconvenient noise. This isn't just a policy failure, it's a leadership vacuum. Starmer, who entered the stage promising clarity, strength, and integrity, has offered little more than indecision masked as caution. His inability to articulate a clear vision on migration, or anything else, has created a vacuum that's now being exploited not only by reform, but by internal critics who are beginning to whisper the unthinkable. We backed the wrong man. The polls don't lie, and neither does the energy on the ground. Labour candidates are now forced to defend policies they can't explain, carry a leader they don't believe in, and pretend the public still sees them as the party of the people. The truth? The public has moved on. They're tired of managed decline dressed up as sensible governance. They want backbone, not bureaucracy. They want bureaucracy. They want boldness, not Stormer's lawyerly fence.